Okay, so hello there, we meet again. I hope your weekend and your first week have gone well. The work for Monday is, as always, going to be in the same folder, the Classics Distance folder. So I want to suggest that it's well worth your time to put a bookmark, as you can see I have, to find that. I've bookmarked your the register as well. So under Classics Distance you've got these various folders. I've added some of Mr. Horlock's ones across as well. I want them all in the same place to make my life easier as well. This folder, you can also add it to your Google Drive if that makes it easier for you. Any folder that's shared with you can just add so it looks like it's one of your folders, and you'd find it under Shared With Me, and then add it across, or just bookmark it as you wish. And remember to tick off the register as you go. So I have been routing through your work. Some of them I've been able to comment on, some of them are pictures. Some of them are pictures at the wrong orientation, thank you. They are very good. So for instance, the work on actions to benefit and please the people of Rome, which isn't due in until Monday, so they're not all in there, and that's fine. There's some really good pieces in there. Emily, for instance, has put up pages from her mind map work and her notes and so on as follows. That's excellent. I would encourage you, by the way, to root through and maybe have a look at other people's for ideas. Some of them, the names aren't obvious, so image 9499 JPEG is a bit tricky, and it would be helpful if we would all go for the whole naming approach to things. Although I did work out that was Jenny's, partly because it says it under owner over here, and partly because it is written on the mind map. So those are all very good, thank you. Those of you who are putting in a lot of time and effort, you'll find that benefits you in the long run. Some of the answers are a bit thinner than others. Okay, so thank you for that. Can I also encourage you to be selective? If I suggest looking Suetonius this or Res Gestae that for a particular idea, you don't then need to get down all the material which isn't directly relevant to that, just the bits which actually are. Okay, so we're going to stick with this idea of an Augustan Golden Age today, and we're going to go and have a look in here in Redefining the Golden Age. You can see here that for the sake of simplicity I've just put 31 copies of the same document, and they all have my name. I hope this is self-evident, but you just rename that, delete out the my name and put down whatever your name happens to be. So if we open those up, and I think you should be able to see this quite clearly on your screen, of course you can open your own copy as well. So this idea of a golden age, so Augustus is very keen on promoting his period as a golden age, and what I want to do is just borrow an argument from Galinsky. So rather than giving you the Galinsky to read, I've basically boiled it down to its basics. So this is from Virgil, from a text called the Eclogues from 42 BCE, so way back before the secular games and before the golden age of Augustus. No one was thinking golden age of Augustus in 42 BCE. And you can see, he said, Sicilian muses, let us sing a nobler theme. Orchards and humble tamarisk do not please all. If we sing of woods, let them be woods fit for a consul. The last age of the Cumaean Sibyl's song has come. The mighty sequence of ages is born and begins anew. Now the maiden returns, the reign of Saturn returns. Now a new generation descends from heaven on high, at the birth of the child in whose time the iron race shall cease, and a golden race inherit the whole earth. Smile, O chaste Lucina, now your Apollo reigns. Now this isn't particularly relevant to what we do. It's worth noticing that that line there, the birth of the child in whose time the iron race shall cease and the golden race inherit, has been really exciting to Christian readers over the past couple of millennia, who have always assumed that the birth of the child in about this period must be the birth of Christ. But of course it's not. That's not what Virgil was talking about anyway. In your consulate this glorious age begins, Pollio, and the mighty months begin their solemn munch. With you whatever traces of our guilt remain will vanish, and loose the world from its perpetual fear. He will consort with the gods and see heroes mingling with them, and he himself will appear to heroes and gods, and rule a world his father's virtues have brought to peace. So, and then we get a description of this golden age. This is the traditional idea of the golden age. And if we look at this, for you, little child, spontaneously as first gifts, the earth will lavish creeping ivy and foxglove everywhere, Egyptian lilies with smiling acanthus. You might think of the acanthus on the Areopagus. Goats will come home by themselves with udders full. You don't need a shepherd. The goat will just come home with an udder full of milk. Nor will the oxen fear the lion's might. Your very cradle will flow with buds to caress you. So no lions eating your cows. The serpent will die, as well as poison's treacherous plant. No snakes, no poisons. Everywhere Assyrian balm will come to bloom. And when you have learned to read the praises of heroes and deeds of your own father, and know what manhood is, the plain, little by little, will grow gold with waving grain. Grapes will redden on the untended vine of the thorn, and the hard oaks distill honeydew from their barks. So you see, grapes will just ripen on their own, untended. Still slight traces of our old iniquity will make us tempt the sea in ships, fortify our towns with walls, cut furrows in our soil. There will be another Tithys, another Argo's chosen crew. There will be other wars, and mighty Achilles will be dispatched once more to Troy. Later still, when strengthening time has made you a man, right, so when you get to the full golden age, the trader will willingly cease from the sea, no more trade, the pine ship will cease exchanging its wares, each land will produce all it needs. So you won't need trade and industry, the land produces everything. The soil will not suffer the hoe, nor the vine the pruning knife. Then too the sturdy ploughman will loose his bulls from the yoke, nor will wool learn to deceive with this hue and that, but in the meadows the ram himself will change his fleece, now to soft sea purple, now to the yellow of saffron. So if you want purple wool, the sheep will just turn purple, or just turn yellow, or crimson covering pasturing lambs. Such let the ages run, said the harmonious fates. So this first idea of the golden age, you can see that no one has to put in any effort. It just kind of happens. You sort of lie back on your back and let the grapes fall into your mouth. Yes, if you want red clothes, the wool changes its own colour. You don't get bitten by snakes. The snakes just all die off. The land just produces it. Very much actually like the Cyclops in the Odyssey, where the land just produces for them. It's quite a traditional image of the golden age. Okay, so that's what Romans had thought of as a golden age. No effort required, no trade required, no wars required, just peace and plenty and total simplicity. Okay. And the question is, how can Augustus use that? Because that's not very much like, it's nothing at all like Augustan Rome. So we move forward to 19 BCE, so 23 years later, and Virgil's writing again, this time the Aeneid. And he says, now turn your two eyes in this direction and look at this family of yours. So he's talking to Aeneas, and he describes the future Romans. Here is Caesar and all the sons of Iulus about to come under the great vault of the sky. Here is the man whose coming you so often hear prophesied. Here he is, Augustus Caesar, son of a god, the man who will bring back the golden years to the fields of Latium once ruled over by Saturn. So that the first golden age is the golden age of Saturn. Yeah? The second golden age will be the golden age of Augustus. Yeah? He's going to bring back the Saturnian golden age. He will extend Rome's empire beyond the Indians and the Garamantes to a land beyond the stars, beyond the yearly path of the sun, where Atlas holds on his shoulder the sky all studded with burning stars and turns on its axis. The kingdoms round the Caspian Sea, Lake Maeotis, are even now quaking at prophecies of his coming. The 7 mouths of the Nile are in turmoil and alarm, presumably because of Cleopatra and so on. Hercules himself did not make his way to so many lands. So this next golden age will be a golden age of empire and power and wealth, not a golden age of simplicity and sturdy ploughmen not bothering to do it anymore and so on. It's not required. And then a further extract I've taken from the Aeneid. So that's from chapter 6, this is from chapter 8. This is what was said that day by Evander, the founder of the citadel of Rome. These woods used to be the haunt of native fauns and nymphs and a race of men born from the hard wood of oak tree trunks. They had no rules of conduct and no civilization. They did not know how to yoke oxen for ploughing, how to gather wealth or husband what they had. They lived off the fruit of the tree and the harsh diet. So notice that word harsh. Yes, instead of this beautiful simplicity, we have here this idea that it's a harsh diet when you're simple, if you're just eating fruit of the trees. In those early days, in flight from the weapons of Jupiter, came Saturn from heavenly Olympus, an exile who had lost his kingdom. He brought together this wild, scattered mountain people, gave them laws, and resolved the name of the land should be changed to Latium, since he had lain hidden within its borders. His reign was what men call the Golden Age. So here we've got then a new kind of Golden Age, not peace, simplicity, and everyone just gets on with it without trade, without effort, and so on, but instead of time when no effort gives you a harsh diet, and then someone comes and gives law and structure and empire, and then we get a Golden Age. Okay? His reign was what men call the Golden Age, such was the peace and serenity of the people under his rule. But gradually a worse age of baser metal took its place, and with it came the madness of war and lust for possessions. So, two ideas of Golden Age. One from way back in the 40s BCE, simplicity, no effort, the food just happens, you don't need trade, you don't need empire, you don't need anything like that. Then a new way of thinking about a Golden Age from 20 plus years later. 19 BC is just before the secular games, it's right in that run-in to this festival, and the idea of Augustus and the Golden Age is already there. Yes, he will bring the Golden Age back. Yeah, he will bring back the golden years, it says. So, then there are some questions underneath. The version of the Golden Age in Eclogue 6, so that's 42 BC, focuses on peace, simplicity and no effort. Augustus' Golden Age was not marked by people laying around in fields waiting for crops to grow spontaneously. That's not what was happening. So what I'm asking there is, how does the Aeneid show that there's a developing idea of a new kind of Golden Age? So you just want to pick out a few quotes perhaps for that and some text. So the argument about a new version of the Golden Age, which I've presented here, is borrowed from Galinsky, who also notes this tension, and there is a tension between the simple life of the Saeculum Aurum, the Golden Age, and the material wealth of the Augustan period. Yeah, so you think about this simple life here, where you don't plough, you just eat some nice grapes and so on, but that's pretty much it. You've got a few sheep, you've got some goats with wool, milk. But I mean, if you said to me I could have a life with goats with milk and a few sheep with red wool, I wouldn't necessarily think, oh, wild luxury. Okay? So given your reading, do Augustus' works in Rome, his entertainments, his spending indicate frugal simplicity? Yeah, so it's not clear it does. And so having a bit of a think. So just putting a few ideas out of the work you've done for me already, which you've put in that folder. Sophistication and sexual immorality often go together. We're going to see that in Ovid as well. Are there any lines in the Carmen Saeculare indicative of moral behaviour and legitimate children? So if we can have this golden age of upright morality and so on. Okay, so there's just three questions really there. So you might want to spend some time and write out a bit of detail. Think about how the Carmen Saeculare is indicating moral behaviour. The work on Wednesday is going to pick up the idea of the Julian laws on luxury and on marriage and adultery and so on. So you can also, if you wish, do a bit of pre-research on that. Okay, so I don't think this should take too long. You've got a bit of text to read, you've got three questions, and you've got watching and listening to me as well, which is obviously the highlight. So do make sure you keep your own copy of this, print it off your notes and so on, but also that you leave it in that folder, and remember as well to tick yourself off on the register that you have seen this and are underway with it. As always, please upload any questions. been really pleased to see that that is what you are doing, that you are having some discussions about this. I think in here, yes, Charles and Aaron have been having a bit of a discussion in there, which is nice. If we go across to here, there's quite a few of you, Aaron, Riley, Charles, you know, a bit of toing and froing, a bit of a discussion, and that's really good as well. So, thank you very much, and as always, upload your questions and either answer them for each other or discuss them with me. That's grand either way. Thanks very much.